Hello and welcome to this assembly. I'm your host, servant Yahweh Soya, and today we're going to get back into this series called Redline. In case you haven't figured it out, I'm thoroughly tired of seeing and wearing red. I didn't know I had so much red, but nonetheless I'm tired of it. I did wear this little bit of red just for a little bit of drama, as I said, but nonetheless I'm tired of red. I'm not tired of this series, so I'm getting back into it, and we're going to pick it up in chapter 33 to see where our champion, our forefather, our bloodline, Yaakov, have left off. With that said, I'd like to thank the Father for letting us assemble today and give us discernment to see these true life stories for what they are, events that happen in our past, to let us see where we may be going to our future. In the name of His Son, Yahushua, hallelujah. All right, chapter 33, verse 1. And Yaakov lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah, and unto Rachel, and unto the two handmaids. Now Esau just wrestled with Elohim, or should I say just wrestled with an El, and prevailed, and now he lifted up his eyes. Now he lifted up his eyes after prevailing over an El. That's pretty, I don't know what to say, that's pretty epic, you know. He didn't really beat the El. However, the El, for whatever reason, did not want to be caught by the sunlight. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's alluding to. Maybe he was gonna, shrivel up like the Wicked Witch, or like burn up like a vampire. I don't know. But he needed Yaakov to let him go before the sun came up. So Yaakov's condition was that he blessed him, and so he did. Therefore, he prevailed. Now, after all of that, now he sees his nemesis, the one he fears. Not only does he see his feared brother, his fearsome brother, but he also sees 400 of his brothers' men coming with him. So, what man has ever fought with an El and prevailed? Elohim ruled the work at this time and was served by men and angels alike. Yasharel just overcame an El. Who should he fear? Verse 2. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. Here we see the order of importance to Yaakov. The least important were in the front. The most important, Yosef, his son by Rachel, and Rachel herself, who was his most important woman, they were at the rear. Now you may be thinking, it's not fair to have a child that you favor more than another. But that's truth. A lot of parents will do their best to convince themselves and others saying, I love you equally. That's a lie. It's impossible. You have two different beings with different needs, different personalities. It is impossible to provide them with the same thing and not either give too much to one or too little to another. They have to be loved, they have to be lifted up separately, individually. All right, so that being said, Yaakov had his family arranged in their order of importance to him. He was saying by that arrangement, okay, if Esau start to killing, hopefully he'll start at the front. Ooh. All right, verse 3. He passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. He symbolically passed as their protector. He observed them and recognized them as his blood, his people. The wording that he passed over before them is very important, so take notice of that. All right? In Scripture, you'll see that the Father will pass over his people, and in that regard, it's implying that he's passing over protecting them from something. This is the same. Now, even though Yaakov don't offer much protection from his brother, that is his job in this moment. And he bows 7 times. I think in symbolism to the 7 days of creation and reverence to Elohim, in that he's offering complete submission to his brother. 7 days of completion that it took, and he's completely submitting to his brother. He probably also is recognizing Elohim as his source, because were it not for Elohim in creation, he would not have had that reference to go by. All right, verses 4 and 5. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. All right, verse 4. Now here, I cannot help but to hear Rivka's voice saying, as touching you, he comforts himself in purposing to kill you. Now here, Esau is, slobbering, crying, all over Yaakov. They're hugging close in an embrace, all over each other's, the sides of their faces. Probably got, mucus running out each other's nose. And, it's a sad scene. They need tissue and Kleenex or something to wipe their faces. And the whole time, Esau is thinking, just a little bit more, I'm going to take you out, So Yaakov, even though this is a emotional, feeling-filled event, he must be concerned about not only his life, but the life of his family. All right, verse 5. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the woman and the children and said, who are those with you? And he said, the children which Elohim has graciously given your servant. Yaakov was sure to mention that he was his brother's servant. He places Esau before himself out of fear, though he just prevailed with an El, and quite possibly have angels with him. Perhaps he was being cautious in respect to his brother and their history. Esau lifted up his eyes. Esau saw the good that Yaakov had acquired from Yahweh. He saw all his blessings. Despite the evil he had done in his past, Yahweh had rewarded him with blessings. Rewarded Yaakov with blessings. With the swell of pride, perhaps, he asked who those blessings were. He likely felt that they were his family. He probably knew that they were his family. Verses 6 through 8. Then the handmaidens came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. And after came Yosef near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, what do you mean by all this drove which I met? And he said, these are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. Esau is a little bit taken aback by all this grace being shown to him. Everybody bowing and submitting themselves. And he's like, what's all this? And Yaakov said, it's for my Lord. It's for my master. I don't think he used the phrase Lord. That's a Latin word. They had yet to even establish Rome. Edomites had not established Rome. So, well, then again, seeing how Esau is the father of Edom, Just maybe that term Lord may have been viable. Who knows? All right, verse 9. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that you have unto yourself. Esau wanted nothing but his brother. He wanted to kill his brother. Yaakov took from him all that should have been his, and he wanted nothing from him. There appeared to be no ill will or spite. There appeared to be no ill will or spite. He just seemed to be content where he was and had made amends with their past. He did not need to be paid or bought off. He then goes to refer to him as brother. In fact, he makes the reference possessive and says, my brother, I'm going to kill you. All right? He claimed him as family despite the gulf that was between them from the past. Esau moves past that and was looking at his brother. And again, he wanted nothing from him other than his brotherhood, other than his blood. All right, verses 10 and 11. And Yaakov said, nay, I pray you, if now I have found grace in your sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen your face, as though I had seen the face of Elohim, and you were pleased with me. Take, I pray you, as my blessing that is brought to you, because Elohim has dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. Yaakov was determined to buy his brother's forgiveness. He was determined to get Esau to take his gifts so that his penance was paid. And now he can say that Esau accepted the bribe and had no claim on his life. He wanted him to accept it as though he agreed with it. He kept at him until he gave in. Esau did not want his gift. He wanted his blood. He was no longer angry. If he were, he reconciled with it. Yaakov was still who he was to a degree and could not just trust his brother's word. He trusted his mother's words. He needed his agreement for payment. He was reflecting his own past nature onto Esau. Or perhaps he understood the skills of a hunter, that he needed his prey to be close so he can kill him easy. All right, verses 12 through 14. And he said, let us take our journey and let us go, and I will go before you. And he said unto him, my Lord knows that the children are tender, and the flocks and the herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die. Let my Lord, I pray you, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goes before me and the children be able to endure, until I come unto my Lord unto Seir. This was a reasonable way to create some separation between he and Esau. Esau wanted them to leave together, with himself traveling ahead. Yaakov said that he should go ahead. However, Yaakov would leave his family and flocks behind at a slower pace with respect to the children and the cattle and all that he had. Perhaps Yaakov felt that this could be the opportunity Esau was looking for. He could lead them all into a trap and kill them all. He had 400 men with him. He could easily have had more in hiding at an ambush location of his choosing along the way. It is not in Yaakov's nature to be trusting, especially after what he had done to his brother. Not only that, but he trusted his uncle Laban, and that did not end well. How could he now trust his brother, who his mother already told him means to kill him and will comfort himself by touching him? All the hugging and kissing and weeping, that's comforting to Esau because his next move is to take his life. Now, not trusting his brother speaks directly to his character, to his nature. He sees in others what he himself once was and could possibly still be. Oftentimes, we reflect who we are upon others. And right now, I'm going to reflect and I'm going to watch this episode at a later time because I'm going to record another. So until I do record the next one and we meet again, This is the servant of Yahweh. So y'all saying, I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed this good day.